pass, you all get to share the other mic. There we go. And go ahead and introduce yourself. I'll let you all introduce yourselves. Go ahead.
My name is Mackenzie Kirkwood, and I worked on Cherish.
My name is Nora DeCruz. I also worked on Cherish.
My name's Rebecca. I worked on Where Sunflowers Grow.
Hi, my name is Angela. I worked on Keep Her Safe.
Wonderful. And you're all well, Angela, you graduated, correct?
I did last year, so I feel like a student. That was very recent.
Well, we'll find out more about what you're up to now. But first off, that you all are with the Medill School of Journalism? So is it projects for investigative subjects? And so out of that, I'll let you all tell how your projects got started. The people came to you and how long it took, and then we'll open up to the audience for more questions, please. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
So my short film, Where Sunflowers Grow, came about as part of I'm a master's student. So in our first quarter, we do a Foundations of Video class, and this was my big final project. And I'm an international student from Sweden, and I knew that I wanted to do something that touched upon the war in Ukraine. And in Chicago, there's a neighborhood called the Ukrainian Village. So I was kind of just walking around there trying to get some inspiration. And I stumbled upon this school, which since the full-scale invasion has taken in over 200 refugee kids, which I didn't know when I started filming. I was asking for one or two, and they just kept coming. And so it was a really fulfilling experience to create it. And yeah, the story just kind of unfolded. So,
How long did it take you to film?
2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was quick. It happened, it was 2 weeks, and as part of those 2 weeks, they had their sort of goodbye assembly before Christmas break. So I managed to get all the students in one day, actually, because they were all there. Yeah, it's great.
This is a question that all of you can answer, but it always fascinates me how you can get the, quote, subjects to be willing and be so vulnerable, and that you make it safe for them to, share their stories, and we all get strength from it. So how did you get, all the students look pretty eager, right?
That's the thing about kids, right? The youngest kid I spoke to, his name's Dima. He's 8 years old, he's in the 2nd grade, and he was a little nervous at first. He kept looking around the room, but I think you just have to earn their trust. And so I asked him, what's your favorite subject in school? What are you doing after school? He was gonna play Roblox. And so he started talking about things that he cared about, and then eventually they get more comfortable and they can start talking about more difficult topics. But then sometimes with kids, you put them in front of a camera and you have no idea what they're gonna say. So that was definitely interesting. But some of them, I think there's something inside kids or anyone in front of a camera that has a story to tell, that they want to get it out, like they want to share it. And so I think it's just a matter of finding it.
Wonderful. Go ahead, you can do Cherish, right?
Yeah. For Cherish, it was interesting. Mackenzie actually found the story, but Miss Cherry visited our school. She spoke to another class and we heard about it, and we went to that class, we visited her, and she was willing to do this documentary with us. Mackenzie, I'll let you talk about it, but when he first presented the idea to our class, everyone gasped, what a shocking story it is, it's so compelling. And so, yeah, we're grateful that we were able to get, so much of a look into her life, that she welcomed us in and was so vulnerable with us. Yeah, I'll let Mackenzie touch on it too.
Sure, yeah, so as Nora said, I wanted to do a story that was specifically about motherhood and black mothers. I think black mothers' love for their children is a bit different, and I didn't see quite a lot of documentaries about anything like that. So, and Miss Cherry did a lot of written text about her story, but no one really put a camera in front of her. And so obviously we found out that she was doing this, she was a guest speaker for this class, and we approached her and explained to her that for our class we wanted to do this documentary to celebrate black motherhood and she has such an inspiring story. And she was definitely apprehensive at first, and it took a lot of time, to gain her trust, because a lot of the archival footage that she had to give us was one of a kind, and we're students that she didn't know, so she gave us all of the photos, all of these home videos that we had to go to our library at Northwestern and go through, and it was very stressful because we didn't want to make sure no water spills on it or anything, but she just texted us today. She's so proud of the film, and she's so proud that her voice is spreading even further than she imagined.
That you documented the success of a long journey through trauma that kept her going. And then look at the people that joined her, the other organization, and all of the, that's a real example of grassroots intention setting and being in action, and you fortunately had success. So, and please, about that, I really acknowledge you for how I'm looking forward to hearing how you got your subjects, how you came on this, and the value of it.
Of course, I appreciate it.
Sure.
So Keep Her Safe is a documentary that also originated out of a headline, essentially. We saw an article one day, this was like last year, beginning of 2025, that Illinois could be the first state potentially to decriminalize sex work. And we were quite surprised at this headline because it's like, we don't hear often about the world of sex work. We don't really have necessarily a grasp of what it might be, but here it was in a headline, and Illinois could make that landmark decision. So after doing a bit of digging, doing a bit of research, we learned that the lead advocate for in the government's the Keeping Sex Workers Safe Act, that was Reina Ortiz. So we ended up getting in touch with her, and also through some social media research about other really leading figures in really providing safety guidelines for sex workers. We got in touch with the other two, Queen and Ava. And Chicago is there's an organization called the Sex Workers Project of Chicago, and Chicago is a very welcoming also city to people of all different backgrounds, and it was through that organization where we also started talking to more sex workers of diverse backgrounds.
Wonderful. All right, audience.
And she has gone through, she's in her 40s now, and she's gone through like a world of challenges, not only being a trans woman, but also going through sex work, and because of the conditions of her, just graduating high school, as she mentioned, she was not necessarily forced into it, but it's just what was able to keep her sustain a living for her. Incredibly powerful, and she again is the leading advocate for the act itself, and I think the just really powerful thing about also what film can do is really showcase the story behind why those legislative acts are so present and so important. The Keeping Sex Workers Safe Act is currently in discussion. It just was is still being upheld in the House and the Senate of Illinois. So not yet necessarily a success, but it's definitely sparking a lot of conversation, and that's what we're continuing to follow.
Yeah, Ms. Cherry's worked also in advocacy, as you saw, and so both of her bills were passed in the Illinois government, and she's met with Jimmy Pritzker many times. I think it's so powerful to be able to share the stories of her children. Like Mackenzie said, it wasn't on video previously, and being able to tell these stories, because she's always telling them and repeating them and retelling her traumas when she speaks to government officials, when she speaks on behalf of protections against gun violence. To be able to put it into video, I think is a change from what she's previously seen, and we're hoping that that was able to help her with her healing journey. And from what she shared, I think that's been true. And it's really important when you tell these stories to be able to humanize all the people that are a part of it.
That's so true. Now, are you all going on to other film festivals with your projects, with these wonderful videos, films? And then what's next? It's such Angela, yeah. Since you graduated.
Yeah, of course. And I also just want to echo Nora's point about humanizing the people that are in these films. Sex workers, when you hear of the phrase, it might bring a lot of different assumptions, a lot of different stereotypes. But the fact that, we were able to sit down, they were able to trust us with telling their stories, and we're able to put a face, a person, a character to why they got into it, and why they're fighting for more safety. That's really what it's all about. In terms of next steps, we have, I'm sure as many as all of you have applied to other film festivals, waiting word on some, and it's, but this is the first stop for us, and it's been amazing being here and having Keep Her Safe shown.
So as part of my master's program, I'm currently in Washington, D.C., reporting on government from there. So that's what I'll be doing for the next 6 months, both written and video. And then in terms of film festivals, same as Angela, this is my first stop, and then we'll see what the future holds for the video.
Yeah, and one of our other filmmakers, she couldn't make it, that was Campbell Cox, and she's graduated. But the three of us were continuing to edit and tweak. I feel like as filmmakers, it's never really finished. You can always keep editing. It's never going to be quite right. So we're continuing to edit, continuing to submit to festivals. And we've also discussed about sending it to elementary schools. I think it's really critical, especially in Chicago, for I think students to see the gravity of Chicago gun violence and see what happened, but also that powerful element at the end of, but it can change, and it can change for the future as well. Both of the children, they were their futures were really, really bright. Thais said she wanted to be a nurse, and she was heading to nursing school. And for Tyler, he was also, in community college and had a really bright future ahead of him as well. And, was really interested in his music career. And so it's interesting because in a lot of the media for stories like this, it'll be like, okay, well, the kids were on a bad track or they were involved with gangs, but neither of these individuals were involved with any kind of crime at all before. Absolutely zero criminal record, and yet they were still involved. They still got, involved in something so horrible like this. So I think we'd love to, continue to give it visibility and to show children, the risks of this in the Chicago gun violence.
Not only showing it to schools, but these types of, for me, the documentaries are quality for PBS. It gets the voice out, the awareness out, and especially with these film festivals with Teddy and the people that put it together, the subjects, we don't even know some of the things and we don't know that we don't know until we see these wonderful films, and that it expands us. And what I got from all of them is that through their actions and their traumas, that they found support, the community, so we're all really the same, and we're not alone. And I think that message for me was shown, and the importance of, because I lived in LA for years, and I know other cities, that a youth or somebody is like a bystander, just happened to be kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and their life was taken way too soon. So that in that aspect, that you're able to find these stories and bring them forward. And who knows where you're all going to go next, but that you're into journaling. We need that so much right now. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and can tell a truth that is important that we keep it going. And yes, I'm so excited. Okay, any other questions? No comment? Okay, please, yes.
I wanted to ask you, with the sex workers in Chicago, do police departments see this?
The question was to do the police part.
Statistics that you present in your documentary.
That's a great question because we actually did reach out to the Chicago Police Department. We actually submitted also a FOIA request. We submitted interview requests and a FOIA, and actually, because this film was created out of, I would say like the course of a few months in art class with Mr. Huffman, who's not here, but wish he was. We actually got a response from them like 2 days before the film was set to premiere at our school, and the response was essentially, oh, we can't give you that footage. Nor did we get a response about speaking out, a statement, anything, which in of itself says a lot. But of course, that was always a consideration in our mind to reach out and see kind of what their perspective was, but there was none that was provided for this film.
Well, and also like an invitation to see your documentaries, like at the Police Academy or something.
Yeah, that is something we can absolutely consider. I do also know that Raina, in her work in this legal fight, is working with different politicians, working with different constituencies, and also people that represent, I believe, the police academy and the police force. But yeah, that's absolutely something we will consider and discuss. That's a great point. Thank you.
Evolving now, so perhaps they'd be an interested party to see what you have found out.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yes, please.
Have you heard any more about the dance studio? She said it was supposed to open July 1st. Is that this coming July? Or?
It was last coming July. Yeah, just to confirm. It actually did open. Yes. I was actually just going through the Instagram page today, and yes, it is open. It has grown to, like, on Instagram, 2,000 something followers. They've been hosting classes. Recently, she seems to be doing so great, and I'm glad that also she's getting the visibility that she needs. But yeah, it's opened. It's thriving.
Fascinating. Wow. Anybody else? There's just, I almost don't want to stop, but if you see these wonderful filmmakers out in the foyer, please, if something comes up, oh, I should have asked that. I know that you all are available. Will you be here till tomorrow, or you, okay. So we have time to see you again. And the Ukraine, this Catholic school and the Ukraine village, have they seen your film?
They have. I wasn't able to get the students' reactions, but I heard from a mother that her son was very happy to see himself, and the principal, and there was a woman at the school who helped facilitate all of these meetings with the kids. She was very happy to see it as well. So yeah, I think they look forward to being able to share it themselves as well with the world. So
it's very uplifting, and the inclusiveness, again, being local but included, takes on the local actions take on being connected globally, as I said earlier. So that's very heartwarming, especially given history and different cultures, how their language and their knowledge wants to be erased. So that there's a safe haven for them.
yeah, I think this was the first video that I'd ever made before filmed and edited. And I think my one goal with it when I set out was that I don't want to kind of take advantage of these kids' experience for my video. And I really want to create something hopeful, because that's something that's very pervasive in the context of the Ukrainian conflict is, no, let's not talk about these people as though they're weak or that they've already lost because Russia's such a big threat. These kids show that the future is hopeful. And so I think that's what I wanted to do, and give props to the school for lifting them up. The principal who was in the video, she has no Ukrainian origin herself.
Yeah.
And so I think the school created a space for these kids to be safe and to grow. And that's kind of the tone I wanted to insert into the film. Not kind of like, look at this poor mother who had to leave her country, or these poor kids who left when they were 4 years old, but rather look at the life they're living right now, you know? Yeah, it makes you feel a bit more hopeful for the future for them.
Well, that goes to, unfortunately, the last film, the Filmmakers Not Here, but that's a message too. You know, she said her stepfather said, you know, keep on going. You're gonna help, I'm gonna use the word repair and recreate, you know, peace in your countries.
Yeah.
So, and that's what your films are doing, is bringing forth that oneness, that we can appreciate diversity, it brings community, and that we have peace in this world. So, you know, and that we have this platform for you to show your wonderful pieces. One last question, I think, is funding. How did you all get your funding? Is it through the school, or you have to?
No.
No funding.
There's no-
Really,
yeah.
you all
There is no
funding? You all do it out of pocket, pretty
But
much. Or
we were
enrollment.
able to borrow like cameras from school,
Yeah.
Medill. There's a lot of resources, and like even our phones work great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, all of the, like, the camera equipment is definitely, okay. The camera equipment is not, we did not obviously fund that. That was given by the school, but transportation costs we were responsible for. And yeah, there was no funding, yeah.
Well, we honor your dedication, acknowledge it, and may funding come for your next one, so it makes it easier for you. And we thank you all for being here, and make more so you can come back, all right?
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you all, thank you, audience.